Hey Kenny, it's Kenny. This is entry number 3. Then it's a new year. What's up? How's it going? It's the first week of the new year. Things are pretty much the same. 2023 has started off the way 2022 ended, as it does almost every year. I've got the baby is here to produce. How's it going, baby?
Hey guys, it's good to be here.
Yeah, this is your first. Is this your first new year?
Yeah, man.
How was it?
Oh, it's good. I'm looking forward to that raise.
What? How do you even know what a raise is? What do you mean?
we talked about it on the first app, man.
That you were going to get a raise in the new year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just because it is the new year doesn't mean that the raise is like happening right now. But like, yeah, at some point this year, maybe we'll see. Kind of.
All right, it's coming.
Well, I mean, you're very optimistic and kind of counting. I don't know if you know how many sayings you've heard so far, but you shouldn't count your chickens before they hatch, is a saying. So you shouldn't like be depending on that yet. Don't go overextending yourself or taking out any lines of credit or anything.
Okay, I just bought this brand new Bills onesie. I brought it into the studio.
A brand new. Oh, did you buy it in honor of the football player that almost was fucking murked on the field?
Yeah, I got it for Christmas, man.
Man, in your short life, you were able to see one of the 1 in a million times of somebody getting hit in the chest and having a fucking heart attack during a football game.
Yeah, it was wild. It's Damar Hamlin.
Yeah, and he's still. They don't even know yet. Like they still don't know if he's like fucking. They're saying he's like. The language they're using is so weird, and it feels like.
The story is so sad because it's like the Bills come out and say like, hey, Damar did not have to be resuscitated twice at our field. And they like made his lawyers come out and say that. And then the doctor from I think it's Glenn Hospital was like, correction. He had to be resuscitated at the field. And then again when he got here, so he did get resuscitated twice.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's wild. There's another thing that was going around yesterday because this happened at the Bengals stadium, actually. And there's been like 4 insanely crazy like injuries at Bengals Stadium like in the past fucking like 5 or 6 years. They're like, and it's not the stadium's fault or like anything like that. It's not like there are some stadiums where players tear their ACL a lot and they're like suing. They're trying to like sue those stadiums, saying that it's like their turf.
Oh wow!
But this is just like a coincidence that these like head injuries and bad shit have happened at fucking Bengal Stadium. So if you're out there playing in Bengal Stadium, fucking be careful. Yeah, hopefully the dude's okay. It's so
Did
weird.
you donate?
No, I didn't donate. He raised like $6 million. His like Toys for Tots. The money's not going to him. It's going to the Tots. It's just like, I think Tom Brady donated $1 million. So,
Yeah, man, I was trying to get in there. I'm looking forward to that race.
oh, you want to use your raise to donate to this charity? You're just trying to buy favor with the fucking listeners because you're hoping the listeners are going to start commenting like, "Give him a raise, give the baby a raise." You fucking dummy. No. Yeah, my New Year's Eve was fun. We really were just going to be like not do anything at all, just be low key and stay at home and watch TV and shit, which we did. But we ended up doing a little bit of Molly and hanging out, so that was fun. It was just a fun time. Fucking feels good. Yeah.
Just vibing out,
Yep.
vibing into the new year.
Just vibing into the new year was a lot of fun.
Spent the first day of the new year chapped.
No, I've actually, from like I haven't, it's not like I've done a ton of Molly. I've done it like a handful, maybe 5-6 times in my life, and I've never experienced the like next day of like depression that people experience. But I also don't think I've done like a lot or like kept doing, because I've like started to talk to people and how much of that shit that they'll do or how many times they go back to the well in one night to like take another half or do a little bit more or keep the party going. Somehow with like drugs and alcohol, I'm like I enjoy doing.
Okay, I'm gonna read off some things. Can you tell me? All right, like what do you want to do? Like hot or cold? Yes or no?
What?
I'm gonna read off some of the effects.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, irritability.
The next day?
Yeah.
No.
Impulsive and aggressive.
Nope.
Depressed,
No.
You kind of talked about that one already. Sleep problems?
No, dude, I fell asleep. It was actually really funny because like we were like, it was like 2 a.m, I think, and then we were laying down, and my girlfriend's like, "Are you going to sleep?" And I was like, "No, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I'm kind of tired. I don't think so." And she's like, "Good, because I can't." And then she like was asleep. She was just dead. And then I fell asleep without even knowing. You know, like when you wake up in the morning and you're like. Like, do I fucking, oh, and you're like, oh, I just fallen. I just didn't realize I went to bed. Is that good?
No, now we got it on the other side. You guys are here at the ground floor on this one.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I mean, I need to buy another set of curtains because that'll fix everything. I figured solo podcast, I only need this one set that's of 2 curtains because the podcast that I do that has like multiple people, we have 2 sets. Turns out you just need 2 sets to not have to deal with shit like this and use podcast time for fucking technical stuff. Baby, this is on you. I'm blaming the baby for this. I will not take responsibility.
Another side effect, trouble concentrating.
Dude, I did this shit like 3 days ago, baby. I didn't do it. I'm not having side effects right now. Now you're just trying.
It says here it stays in your system about 3 days.
This has everything to do with the curtains and nothing to do with the Molly that I did fucking 3 days ago, 4 days ago, however many days it is now. You're a baby. You don't know what you're talking about.
That's why I got NIDA.gov, baby.
What is it?
It's the National Institute on Drug Abuse.
Yeah, you're going from like a negative source. They're going to come at everything from like a negative side. I want neutral.
Yeah, I googled is my friend a drug addict? And
that's fucking wild. We did go eat lunch before this, and there was this interesting thing because in Baby's short life, he has had some experience with these containers to fill up your ketchup, right? And he saw me do something that like blew his mind. And I've thought that it was like a common thing that a lot of people did is like, in order, you have this container and then in order to have more ketchup and you just open the container up and make a plate-ish bowl. You can make it as much bowl or plate as you want. A lot of times I get it just like this. So it has a little tiny bit of a lip. And then I put my ketchup in this and I have like a lot more ketchup than you have inside of your like little tiny thing. But you didn't like seem like you were a believer.
it was the first time I had seen something like that.
Yeah, but you seemed like you were like you doubted it. Like you were like, I don't know. You even was like, oh, he was like making some like, oh, it'd be funny if there wasn't more in mine. And I'm like, it's factually I have more. I pile my ketchup and I have a pile of ketchup. Little fun fact also, you know what you do with these is you take these and you go to Yogurtland. And you take these in, and now you have your own XXL taster cup. So that's just a little from me to you. But yeah, I learned this from In-N-Out. I don't know if you had In-N-Out before, baby, but
I thought you were gonna like. You told me you were gonna do something, and I was like, okay, he's gonna put pepper on the ketchup. I've seen that one before.
Yeah, pepper on the ketchup's good. But opening them up is that's the way to go, dude.
You're a psycho, man.
Why?
I don't know. I wouldn't want to be driving with you up Highway 1. Did you hear about that story?
Yeah, about the dude that tried to kill his family. It came out that there was a dude. The first initial takes on it were like it was just articles that were saying like, oh, a Tesla took itself off a cliff, like because the people they are waiting. The news and people like are just I think they love when there's a crash. Like whenever there's like, oh my god, auto driving is failing. Oh my god, let's write the art. Like those articles come out so fast and slow, so plentiful. When it's like, oh, did you see the Tesla that crashed? It was the autopilot. The robots aren't as good as us. We drive better. And then what happened?
Yeah, it turned out to not even be true, man.
Turned out that this dude tried to kill himself and his whole family. And he's a he's a doctor. What kind of doctor couldn't do the math on what type of cliff you need to drive off of You're supposed to be smart. What kind of doctor is he?
Radiologist.
I was gonna say he's probably a fucking chiropractor. Probably a fake ass chiropractor doctor. Fucking witch doctor. You believe in? I see you, baby. I see you on your phone watching chiropractor videos. You believe in chiropractors?
Yeah. It looks good.
You think chiropractors are 100% legit?
I mean, I don't know. I like when they like crack a goat's back or something.
Right, but what about like I think they have chiropractors for babies, dude.
Yeah, man. When I get that raise, the lifestyle's changing.
I'm not gonna give you a raise if you're gonna spend it on chiropractors.
So I don't know. You think that guy was just doing like so many mammograms that he was just like, I don't know. Like, how do you think?
Did he do everybody's in their sleep and find out they all have cancer and just want to end it? Like what made this dude want to take everybody out?
Yeah, and then it turns out all of them are okay, thankfully. And when he gets out of the hospital, he has to go straight to jail.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. That's wild. He's definitely getting a divorce, I'm assuming. Is it safe to take a baby to a chiropractor? Here's what experts say. On TikTok, chiropractors are stretching chubby legs, massaging infant tailbones, and tracing tiny vertebrae of baby spines, touting a range of unproven treatments for newborns and babies and toddlers. Yeah, dude, I think it's weird. Oh, dude, look at this this is terrible podcasting, but look at this fucking baby getting like a massage gun on its back. That's so brutal, dude.
Oh, man, can you pick up something on the table? Actually, I saw that video.
This is it makes it seem like we set up all these things for the podcast. Yes, I brought some of these because of our conversation at lunch. So I brought these to show you. The massage gun was because I pulled a muscle in my abdomen coughing from smoking weed. And the baby actually, I shouldn't be surprised that the baby likes chiropractors because the baby swears by this gun, which I'm not a non-believer in this gun. This gun's actually really fun and cool if used right. And so why'd I say if used right? I don't care how you use it. But I fucking pulled this like muscle right here. Like it still hurts. Like when I cough, it feels like someone's stabbing me. But this actually helped. I massaged it out for a little bit yesterday because the baby fucking swears like by the massage gun. It's kind of annoying. The baby's like, oh, you gotta fucking. You're like the baby basically sings that song. Your hip bone's connected to your thigh bone. But with muscles. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm probably not. But yeah, dude, I don't know why. Like, did you see there was a picture and I was assuming it was of the wreckage because it was on a bunch of different like articles. Like I kept seeing the same picture of just a ball, like a Tesla. It looked like it was in a ball. So I'm wondering how the fuck they survived or if they all decide to use the same stock picture for fucking ratings. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty bad crash.
Do you think that he was like laying there like after the crash realizing everybody lived but they're hurt and then he just like tried to pretend to be like, oh, I don't want to help everybody because I'm like the doctor, like
Yeah, it felt like they started out being like the car's bad and then it ended up kind of keeping everybody safe.
Yeah, exactly. And Elon had to step in and be like, no. Elon had a funny ass tweet that I saw that was just basically, that was like a year ago I was person of the year. He is a funny dude. He does have, so that's a hilarious, yeah, because he was person of the year a year ago and now everybody fucking hates him for the most part. Because even the people that used to hate him, it's not like they started liking him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they still are, like they're probably like more indifferent. I don't think they hate him as much. But then the people that used to like him fucking hate him now. Wild. We live in a very wild world, baby. It's only going to get wilder. I'm excited for the weekend. A couple shows at the Rec Room. That should be fun. And then, do you have any stories for me this fucking episode? This entry?
I feel like all we've been doing is stories, man. What's up with you?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Like you told me you did Molly on the New Year.
Yeah. I did Molly in the New Year. That's all that I've done. Besides that, it was just chilling and hanging out. It's been so fucking rainy and boring. And this is the time of, like, right now comedy is fucking ramping back up to like full force from the new year. All the, like, you know, resolution comics, all the people that have been doing comedy for years, and like this is their year and they come out hard. Like we're going into that right now, but we're really coming off of, you know, comedically and show wise and everything. We're coming off like the slowest part of the entire year for us, which is the holidays. Those fucking couple weeks where there's like way less shows going on, way less people going to the shows. Typically, unless you're a fucking big headliner, and all that shit. But so yeah, it's like that has been my fucking only thing I've really done. We were supposed to go to.
You're tuning into your inner goblin.
I'm turning into my inner goblin.
You're tuning in, man.
Tuning in, staying indoors, fucking.
Oh, yeah, you know they added goblin mode.
You've been talking about this.
Oh, that was big news this year, man. They add a term or word every year, and I felt like, you know, you're used to going goblin mode, and towards the end of the year, you can't embrace your inner goblin.
What does goblin mode mean?
It's a prevailing mood of an individual who rejected the idea of returning to normal life or rebelled against increasingly unattainable aesthetic standards and, well, you know, people that go against the norm, man.
That doesn't even make sense. That's not even what I feel like goblin mode is. Like that doesn't even make that much sense. But that's in the dictionary now?
Yeah.
Who decides what goes in the dictionary?
It's Oxford's dictionary. You know Oxford.
Like Oxford, England or something?
Well, yeah, I think that's probably where they are. But it's like we have Webster. There's Oxford.
Was it just these two fools back in the day? Like, hey, if you want to know language, you either got to go to Webster or Oxford. Do people like only believe in one?
I don't know. Should I look? Let's look it up. Was there a Webster? Leave it down in the comments below if you're a Webster and Oxford user.
I think people are just a Wikipedia or Google user these days.
Sure.
But I wonder if those are always connected back to one of those, to one of those two things, because it's like how everybody used to have a TomTom,
yeah,
as a GPS. Well, definitions from Oxford Languages. 100%. So it's the same type of thing. Instead, you know how like Oxford had its this Google just uses Oxford to just give you the definition, right? Just like, you know, like Apple and I believe Google, maybe Google does their own thing, but like, you know, like they're like TomTom still exists. It's just software.
Oh wow.
You can see the logo inside of I saw it somewhere recently. Like I was in Apple Maps or on Google Maps or something, and there was a little like copyright thing, and it was like TomTom. So it's like, yeah, the same thing with this is like they just, like, you think Oxford's like, man, they probably hate it that the internet's out, but they're probably making more money than ever.
Yeah, man. They're going goblin mode.
Don't. All right. Stop. No more goblin mode. No more. There's the Oxford, there's the Webster, and there's the Weber dictionary. There's the Weber, no stir, right? In the Weber dictionary, we don't say goblin mode. I kind of hate it. I kind of now, and you've been saying it for a few days, and I kind of didn't acknowledge that it was actually happening. Right? I was just like, this is gonna fucking pass. We're not gonna talk about this.
Confusion, depression, anxiety.
Fuck you, dude. I'm not, dude. No, everything happens on a daily cycle. Like my brain is used to working. So it can't be like 3 days or anything like that. If the next day doesn't have those exact symptoms, then I have missed out on that train. It's not a it's not a week-long lingering experience. That would be impossible.
Did you hear about that Pepsi documentary?
No.
Okay, so like the gist of it is like there's a...
Wait, you're talking about the airplane?
Yes.
I know I watched like the theatrical trailer for that. You know when there's a trailer that's so long you just watched the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the theatrical trailer for the Pepsi documentary. So yeah, it's like the kid goes through like trying to he like does everything he has to do to get the jet from Pepsi, and then doesn't he sue him?
Yeah, you know what's crazy is you can't own that jet. It's a military jet.
So it's like illegal. It's like an illegal thing to own. It's like if you owned like a tank.
Yeah. You want to know another crazy thing?
What?
You know who has a contract with the government?
Pepsi?
Coke.
Really?
Yeah, man.
So we're like, we send our men and women to die. They drink Coke. Could you imagine if that's all you wanted before your last battle? You're like, look, men, we don't know how many of us are going to make it out of there tomorrow. Call your wives and tell them goodbye. And also, enjoy this last meal. And some dude has to drink a fucking Coke, but he loves Pepsi.
Yeah, and then somewhere back home, somebody's like, it's a taste of a new generation.
And then and then ISIS fucking gets Kylie Jenner. That's the fucking full circle moment for that. Fucking. Remember when people were so mad at her about a commercial? I don't even remember.
Oh, yeah. Like one of those genders.
Kendall Jenner, I think it was who it was, actually, the model one. The like most normal of them. Seemingly normal.
The tall one.
Yeah.
Okay,
not the tall one, but not the goblin mode tall one. I found use for the word!
Oh, man.
I wish I could turn this on quickly. I would have been like, goblin mode. We're going to take this from standard to goblin mode. Fucking ridiculous. Yeah, but they got mad at her for her fucking Pepsi commercial a few years ago. That's old ass news. I don't need to fucking. Do you know what I looked up to figure out if the dictionary thing? I looked up ass. I just typed ass.
Which one of these do I agree with more?
An ass, an animal of the horse family, which is typically smaller than a horse and has longer ears and a braying call. Number 2, informal, British, a foolish or stupid person. That ass of a young man. Wild. Well, I don't know, baby. You got any more stories for me?
You're kind of shooting down all my stuff, man.
What did I shoot down? I just told you that fucking. I told you. Oh, with the Pepsi. Okay, so you wanted to talk about. Is that what you want me to speak about the Pepsi? Did I go over that too quickly for you? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, yeah, the Pepsi. Like I'm saying, like the guy wanted a jet, and he did everything there was. Like he did all of the necessary steps, but in the commercial they were like, we're just kidding. You can't really get a jet. Is this true?
No, they actually didn't say that, man.
Okay, did they go back after the fact and put it in or some shit?
I think that's how they ended up covering themselves, like from there on out.
That's hilarious. Did they end up having to pay any money?
It's still up in arms, man. I actually haven't finished it.
Oh. You wanted me to go back and cover the fucking story?
I was hoping you saw it and you could just tell me what happened.
But we got out of it, and then you went back into it to just be like, yeah, dude, I really don't know. So you haven't finished watching it, so you don't know? Or was that the whole gist of it, is that they're still, like, in litigation?
I just don't know.
Ridiculous. I did hire a baby though, so that's on me. Sometimes you gotta fucking just go with that. Do you have one more for me for today? Or are we good?
How did you feel about Amber Heard?
What? We're just reaching back to like last year's news. How'd I feel about Amber Heard? Man, see, that's one of the reasons why I don't have a podcast up until now, is because I don't have a ton of like interesting opinions, and it's kind of why some of the stories you give me I do gloss over, because my opinions are typically like in the middle. And like that's boring, you know what I mean? Like it's boring for like you want somebody to have like salacious opinion. I'm probably using the word wrong. I gotta stop saying that. You want somebody to have fucking like over the top opinions or something that's like, you know, the clip worthy stuff. This guy thinks Kanye's right. Like shit like you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of stuff people want. But then when you want to be like, again, like I'll use the Kanye thing and then I'll do Amber Heard. But like Kanye, for instance, is like, yeah, it's a terrible thing. He's saying some stupid shit, but the dude is sick and we've known this for years and we've paraded him around the fucking, you know what I mean? And like just we've gained off of him and sucked his soul. And then now we want to be like, oh, you have another bad idea? Like, let's just fucking like take him out to the pasture and shoot him. Pretty crazy in my opinion. But pretty crazy what he's doing, right? And then Amber Heard and the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp thing is like, the truth of that is in the middle. It seems like two terribly toxic people, and they're both wrong, and she's probably more wrong in this instance. And it's just weird because she's, you usually don't see an attractive woman going through what she's going through. You know what I mean? You don't see them as the like just more outright crazy one when these types of situations are happening. Usually it's the man that does that. But this is like us seeing our first, seeing a woman serial killer. What, Eileen? What was her name? Eileen something? The woman serial killer. I'm pulling that just off of a Netflix fucking cover. There's some documentary that I've seen for years.
Eileen. Forgive me, I'm a baby. I'm still learning how to read. It's Eileen Wuornos?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it starts with a W.
Yes.
And she's like a woman. She killed somebody. That's basically what I'm using this as. But yeah, it's like Amber Heard is. Yeah, we just saw an attractive woman who's kind of a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Or pretty much a piece of shit. Isn't Johnny Depp dating his lawyer? I think that's hilarious. Or he was for a minute at least.
You could tell that they were into each other. Good for both of them.
Did you watch the case, baby?
Yeah, man. I was.
You're always. The podcast should be me being the producer and the baby being the person. Because you're way more up on like fucking the pop culture stuff. Like I know. I mean, you know what it is I'm not. You're way more.
I hear a story about somebody shitting in bed, and I go, you know what? I've been there.
Yeah, but you've never shit on the bed on purpose, just to shit on the bed. That's a wild. Can you imagine? Like, it's a wild thing to hear and being like, wow, that's crazy. But then if you think of the actual act, think of if you had to do you squat on the bed? Do you go on all fours and just let it fall out? Like, what exactly?
Yeah, like you're getting messy in that process.
Do you shit into the toilet and scoop? Like, what do you do to get, like, I don't know. Do you shit onto the floor, onto like a napkin and then place it? I don't know how you shit on the bed.
Maybe it was one of those fancy beds with like the railing.
So you sit over the edge of the railing and shit onto the bed. Was it just a turd? Was it smeared? There's just so many questions. Like, did she like on the bed? Like, what happened? But do we care that much? I don't know. I don't fucking know. They're both basically not gonna work again. Like, it's a fucking mess. But that's how we're starting out 2023. A fucking mess. Thanks for listening. Email Kenny. It's Kenny. Lots of oh, you know what? There was a question on YouTube before we got here. It was saying if any behind the scenes like backstage comedy stories that we have. And I was like thinking about it because like we run a comedy club and stuff. I mean, there's actually the best story I just can't tell. It's not like I just can't. I am not. It's really throw somebody under the bus in a way that just something that I don't need. It's nothing illegal or anything, but it just isn't good for them. So I can't tell that's the story you want to hear. I can't tell. But I'm trying to think of. I mean, just stuff happens at the club all the time. It's a comedy club attached to a play place.
Yeah, like I got one.
What? Which one?
Hold on. Put your hand up real quick. I will know if we can have to get this guy out. It's about the server.
Server? I don't care about server. I don't give a fuck about the servers. I'm just not trying to throw a comic under the bus. You know exactly what I'm talking about with that one.
Okay, man. So like another part of the running a comedy club is you gotta focus on the room. You got these servers, and one of them comes in and they look pretty banged up, Like when
Yeah.
I've been up all night.
Yep.
And they pulled me aside and said that they were with this guy all night. And they wouldn't leave their car. So they kept leaving in the middle of the show to go, like, try to, I don't know, be like, hey, get out of my car.
Oh yeah. So yeah, there was a server who had I don't know what they were doing outside of work or what all was going on, but I will tell you, right now is a tough time to hire, to be a person who's in charge of hiring and firing. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that at the club. I hire and fire door guys. I've only had to hire, never fired. That's been nice, but it's mainly my friends, that I know working at the club that are door guys, comics. But it's a tough fucking time out there since like post pandemic. I've seen it firsthand, watching this big facility just churn and go through people. But yeah, this person just had, I don't know what they had going on, but we basically had to go out there with somebody with like the manager of the building to like be like, hey dude, you have to leave and you can't like just be in this person's car. Then they left, and then they were like texting them and threatening them, which was like, I mean, if you're going to, like, stay in someone's car and fucking not want to leave, yeah, you're probably going to text them and threaten them after and shit. But it's like, that person's a fucking mess. Like, just always a fucking doing their thing. I really hopefully for them, everything turns around, wish them well and everything. But it's like, at some point, it's like, you can only be a mess,
Yeah, after that
so
day,
long.
it rained for like 8 days straight.
That dude was just making it rain. He was,
He knew, man.
yeah, he's like, I'm not getting out of this fucking car. It's about to be a typhoon, dude. Yeah, that was a wild thing. I thought that I didn't realize you were talking about something so recent, which I don't know. Again, I don't care. They're not listening to this podcast, and if they are, whatever, dude. You know what you did. I thought you were gonna say something like, we've had so many crazy fucking servers and stuff there. Like, you remember I won't use real names, but you remember the blonde girl that worked there that had she ended up quitting / getting fired like at the same time.
Yes.
Like, and then she was like she had like a fling with like she had like a 2-hour fling with like all like so many different employees, like coworkers and stuff. Like our friend who's a comic, he'd be like, she just like made out with me and she just was like crying and then made out with me in the alley. And then you weren't there. There was a dude. I don't even give a fuck because he has a very common name. First name Daniel. There was a dude, and it's not the Daniel. It's not the Daniel that we know that lives in Huntington.
Right.
It's like he was like one of those people that like, he was cool and everything, but he had like a switch that would flip, and then he would be like shark eyes and like dead in the face and like be a dickhead, like, and start to like talk shit and stuff. And he was so like, we watched him go through a range of emotions all in like 5 minutes, where you saw him like literally like he wanted to like punch a brick wall, like like so angry, to crying.
Oh man.
And stuff. So it's like, there was before the pandemic, what it was we would have a core group of people before the pandemic, and then there would just be like, oh, this new person's insane. Like, there was one chick that we had like a double show night, and she literally left like 20 minutes early, and she stole all the money that she had made that night. And it was funny because she knocked a glass over as she was leaving. What happened was, she knew she was going to be leave and steal stuff, and she like ran into it and knocked a glass over, and then everybody like looked at her like, what? And then she left, and then we're like, oh, this chick left. Like, and then it was a whole thing where I had the cops ended up coming in like 2 weeks later, and they had like a bunch of pictures, and I had to like pick her, as she already had like a criminal photo and shit, and I had to like pick her out of a lineup and all that shit, and she stole like fucking $90 or something like that. It's like, that's not much of a fucking getaway plan. What was there any other fucking? There's a bunch of crazy bartenders there at points when I was managing the bar. Like, one chick was getting fired, and then she turned in a note saying she was quitting at the same time, but then she tried to collect unemployment, and we were like, oh, we have this note where she quit. And it's like, she quit instead of getting fired, and if she got fired, she would have had a right to like unemployment. It was fucking just like, so yeah, so many different fucking Like that's I guess running a comedy club. That's the shittier part is all the other non-comedy stuff. That's why I'm in a good position. I just run the comedy portion, worry about that, and fucking try to facilitate as much as I can with everything else that's going on. You know, I try to help out and give them information that's going to help them. How many tickets are sold? Fucking, hey, it looks like you only have 2 servers. You need more if you got them, but not having to worry about it all the time is pretty sweet. Not having to fall on my shoulders like it did before, like for a couple years before with like the old ownership and shit. But that's it, man. That is the podcast. Fucking email Kenny. It's Kenny at gmail.com if you want to get in on this. Fucking questions, comments, concerns, all that shit. Trying to come out with episodes twice a week, but I for sure will have at least one a week. Any last words, baby?
Just thanks for listening, guys.
All right, later.